Hello and a very good afternoon to all of you all who are joining me in this live interaction on News 9's Facebook as well as YouTube page. Now initially when the pandemic broke out in March, there were hopes that temperatures could have an impact on the virus spreading like wildfire. However, the reality was quite different from the assumptions made by researchers and scientists across the world. There were contrasting reports about the virus spreading rampantly during the cold climate because our immune system wouldn't be in its optimal state, and others also stated that the cold weather would even go on to kill the virus. But we are currently in the winter and the situation hasn't worsened yet, and the virus has also not been killed. Now you might wonder why I'm speaking about these assumptions made by people and also researchers across the world about weather affecting the spread of COVID-19. Well, a new report by a group of researchers from Texas University have said that the findings provide evidence that warmer and cooler temperatures will not have an impact, and the reason the virus has been so transmissible is almost entirely due to human behavior. And this particular research was published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and also Public Health. So this particular study examined the human behavior in a general sense and did not attempt to connect it to how the weather may have influenced it. So at each scale, the researchers adjusted their analysis so that the population differences did not affect the results. And across the scales, the scientists found that the weather had nearly no influence on the spread of COVID-19. And when it was compared with other factors using a statistical metric that breaks down the relative contribution of each factor towards the particular outcome, the weather's relative importance at the county scale was less than 3%, with no indication that a specific type of weather promoted the spread of COVID-19 over another outcome. Now, in contrast, the data also showed the clear influence of human behavior and the outsized influence of individual behaviors as well. So, the research highlighted that taking trips and spending time away from home were the top two contributing factors to the growth of COVID-19 across the world, with a relative importance of about 34 to 26%. And the next two important factors were population and also urban density, with a relative importance of 23% and also 13% respectively. Now, to give us more insight about this particular report, we have with us Dr. Sitesh Roy, joining us live from Mumbai. Many thanks for joining me in this live interaction, Doctor. Now, all these days, we were made to believe that the spread of COVID-19 infection depends on the weather patterns. But this report speaks otherwise and quashes all those rumors. What do you think about this particular report, Doctor?
So Deepak, I am actually not surprised by this report because the behavior of SARS-CoV-2 as a virus which is highly transmissible, has clearly shown that temperatures do not affect the viral spread. We have even noticed that in the early studies that came from China, Wuhan, that the virus was able to spread at 40 degrees centigrade inside steam and sauna rooms. So temperature not affecting the spread was very obvious. Now, regarding the cold weather, the virus began its journey last December in China, where it was winter, and there were a lot of cases then. But in summer, we saw just as much spread in other parts of the world. So it is not a very clear surprise to us, but in winter, there are a couple of factors that can make this virus spread even more. And that would be people staying indoors and the cluster spreading of the virus within families or groups of people. The other is increase in indoor air pollution, especially in a country like India where biomass fuel might be burnt and people may keep their homes closed, reducing the ventilation, knowing that ventilation is so important to redistribute the air and prevent the viral spread, along with less of sunlight and decrease in vitamin D levels that is seen in colder countries. I think all of these factors may still point that we have to be very cautious during the winter months. But clearly, temperature is not the factor. It is not the virus that spreads. It's people who spread the virus. And this study just confirmed that.
Now, Doctor, do you think that human behavior is also the main reason? Because many people took out trips and also went on vacations during summer and also winter. So, do you think that this might have impacted the spread of COVID-19 because people were shifting from place to place?
Certainly, if we look at the very beginning of this pandemic, Deepak, when Wuhan had not yet shut itself down and people were traveling from Wuhan to Italy, where a lot of workers from China were, or we look at the people coming back from UK or Middle East to India, that is really how the virus gained entry into these different countries. So people moving for business, work, pleasure is certainly the way in which that asymptomatic carriers of the virus and mildly infected people who have not yet been tested or even know that they need to be isolated are the ones that are spreading the virus. And so clearly maintaining all precautions like wearing masks when people are traveling, possibly even more precautions as is taken on flights, in addition to maintaining physical distance and doing hand washing and hand sanitizing is still the primary way to limit the spread of this virus from human to human.
Okay, now doctor, with this report coming to the fore, what is your advice to the people?
Limit your unnecessary travel or even your unnecessary excursions from your own home to places. So I think that it's important that if you have to go to work, please do. If you have to go for educational reasons, please do. If you have to go to the market or do essential work, please do. But just unnecessarily traveling around or taking trips that are not necessary, I think we have to respect the times and stay as much as we can in our homes and keep the distance between people and take all the precautions and recognize that keeping areas ventilated, making sure that the mask is worn correctly and changed at the right time. And if the masks have elastic bands, make sure that you clip them because they do affect our environment. And also making sure that people seek medical care at the earliest sign of symptoms so they can isolate and not spread it to family and friends or co-workers is so very important still at this time.
Right, Dr. Sitesh, many thanks for joining me in this live interaction. Well, there you heard it. Dr. Sitesh clearly saying that the weather is not the reason why the virus is spreading, and the reason why the virus is spreading so rampantly is because of people moving from one place to another, people going out on business trips, people going out to school, people going from one city to another city for their pleasure and for a vacation. So avoid traveling when the COVID-19 virus is still existing in our society. So it is better to avoid traveling, and also it is very advisable to follow all the safety and precautionary measures, because those are the only weapons that we have to fight and defeat this COVID-19 pandemic. So if you guys have liked this piece of information that I've shared with you all, please do drop in your comments, and also like, share and subscribe to News 9 on various social media platforms. Many thanks for joining us.